government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Refuse to go along with this, and I'm seeing through all of your lies, Barack Obama, you wicked, wicked devil!
I'll limit myself tonight on that one.
I've never seen that clip before. What is it?
Oh my god.
Oh my.
So
Oh my
anyway,
man.
we're back here another night of Stick with Koolfrogg. I do have a nice little group of people here. We got the America shirts. How's it going, buddy?
It's going good. I don't know about like freaking World War III, but you know, hey, it's going pretty good so far.
Did you design a new T-shirt for me today?
Wait, what?
Did you design a new T-shirt for me today?
No, because you're not my Valentine, Koolfrogg. God.
Oh, what the hell, man?
I'm his Valentine.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Don't you know? Like we broke up, and then I got the dumpster.
We know my Valentino.
I don't remember.
My best friend.
You've never left me. You're
Oh.
still here.
Yeah, boy.
We have the Grimm's Bar. What's up there, bud?
Hey, what's going on, Koolfrogg? So guys, just so you know, Koolfrogg's actually hosting this. I'm just mirroring it over to the channel, and I will be monitoring the chat on my side. But yeah, if you haven't yet, go on and subscribe
a
to
couple
Koolfrogg.
times. So
go on and subscribe to Koolfrogg.
anybody
He's a,
does finally say anything.
Really cool guy.
Read the super chat.
Hence-
The super
hence
chat.
the-
The super chat that just came in. Oh my God! Look at that.
Oh, we got super chat.
Mind. There's
Oh
no
yeah,
super
look at that.
chat.
It says
There's
it
no
says
chat.
oh man.
I mean,
Yeah,
I was
definitely
going to say
check
he
out
is cool
Koolfrogg,
because
America shirts and Jimmy YouTube.
totally.
And of course, we got the trucker Jimmy YouTube.
Oh,
Hello. Today I come to you as the glorious Russell Brand.
Are you
Yep,
sure?
Yep. He's about 85% of the way. Never mind,
You can follow me at Jimmy YouTube. Excuse me, Jimmy YouTube, or the Atlas Pass on
Twitter.
Odyssey. No, not on Twitter.
Well,
On
that's what he
Odyssey.
says. He's a,
That's a
You
plot.
can follow me on Odyssey. You can follow me on Rumble.
On
You
the
can follow
Rumble?
me at
he's got the Rumble.
TikTok. That's what it is. You can follow me at TikTok, Rumble, and Odyssey, all at the Atlas Pass. And then over here, you can follow me at Jimmy YouTube. And then over on the Twitter side, you can follow me if you like over at Real Anime Rich with underscores and capitalizations. Thank you very much.
Russell, you've changed.
Sure, did you get all those articles that I threw up in the?
I've become grizzled with all that's going on.
For drizzle. For drizzle, my grizzle.
For shizzle.
The name of the show is Volodymyr Zelensky. This guy right here. You can see there's a nice little Wikipedia page that I
Begala
pulled.
Bubalashi?
Yeah, Volodymyr Alexandrovich Zelensky.
Hello,
Begala
friend.
Bubalashi.
How would you like
Dude's
some
born in January 78. I mean, this guy, he's only 44 years old.
He's an actor.
I mean,
He's still a Gen Xer.
that's the thing is when it comes down to it, you know, what all came through. It's amazing what this guy's actually done in his life. He had an entertainment career. He is an actor. He's done plenty of different movies, TV shows. His political career is very short.
Looks like they tried to do the Trump thing over in the Ukraine.
Or you could say they're trying to do the Canada thing.
or
with the whole actors.
mirror image of any country that's trying to actually push some woke agenda. And I just don't think that this guy.
What are his actual politics? Do you know? Like what his
Well, see,
actual
that's
positions are?
that's why we're inside this this Wikipedia here. So
That's why we're doing a deep dive.
right, so you can actually see
Mhm.
what his political
Real
party,
nasty
See,
black.
from what I've
the
been able to
Servant of the
gather,
People, was
it's
created
supposed
in
to
March of
be more
2018.
conservative.
Conservative.
So I mean, this guy seriously, he's only been there, for just the few years that
And really, I don't know if necessarily conservative would be the word. He's more populist.
Russell Brand.
Because his election, I remember when he was elected,
he's
everybody was like, "Oh, he's
some independent shit though, because he's running under the party of the Servant of the People, which is his own
Yeah.
coming, whatever. That's this right here, that it was a movie that he was actually in.
right." And he
No
was like
way.
he was
What?
acting as the president in the movie, and then
And
they
they're
elected
like,
him as
yeah, we got to
president.
get that guy.
They literally elected the guy who was acting as president
To
of
like,
Ukraine, and they
yes.
made him president.
That'd be like us seeing Air Force One and being like, Harrison Ford, got to get him in there.
Legit. Like that's literally true. Yeah. And he just won.
plane.
I mean, this guy.
Oh my God.
He's
Like
got
putting Joe Biden's face on the president from Independence Day, like deep faking him in there in his voice.
born
Come on, man.
Jewish in the Ukrainian SSR. So, the eradication of more potential when you think about it, because this guy, the news that we're going to go through here, or whatever, it would be kind of interesting to, for recent of what's actually happening with this man. But you can see he had this, at the age of 17, started his entertainment career. So I mean, the guy's well known, and that's pretty much what got him the job, is because he was so well known. They're like, oh, we hire the people that are really well known. People just know. Like, this is Ukraine. So. Not like Joe Biden doesn't have anything to do with all this goings on.
Joe Biden can suck my multiple.
Yeah, wasn't he in Russia? Wasn't he running against Putin in Russia or something like that? And then he ended up getting poisoned and then left.
Who?
Zelensky?
Yeah.
You talk.
No, he's still there.
I mean, he got
So
poisoned.
Zelensky was inaugurated on May 20th.
I mean, that's what we're going over.
First
Like, he's been
officials
putting out stuff today. And like,
attended a ceremony in Ukraine's parliament, including all these places. In the swearing-in speeches, he dissolved the Ukrainian parliament as his first act of president. In spite of the preemptive attempts to block the move of the People's Front, which withdrew from the ruling coalition a few days prior to his inauguration, Zelensky was noted to have been the first Jewish president of the Ukraine, and with Volodymyr Zelensky as prime minister, Ukraine was the second country to have both a Jewish president and prime minister. As one of the first acts of his presidency, Zelensky appointed
that's the only
this
thing
guy as head of the presidential administration in Ukraine. Prior to his voting, was lawyer of the Ukrainian oligarch of this guy. I'm not going to try pronouncing all these names. Ihor Kolomoisky. Under the rules of lustration in Ukraine, introduced in 2014 following the Euromaidan, Bowden is not entitled to hold any state office until 2024 because his government's post during the second Azarov government I mean, these guys have been around for a while, and they're just trying to actually push their weight and be like, "Oh, let's do this." Just 6 years. Nothing big. 8 years, whatever. 14.
Was it this guy that Trump was really close with over there?
I mean, I wouldn't say
Zelensky?
really close, but like, it was better than the previous administration in Ukraine.
If you don't fire the prosecutor, you're not getting the $1 billion.
Oh, son of a bitch!
He got fired.
And right, I mean, there's just plenty of presidents that have had something to do with Ukraine because obviously when it comes to international affairs, we always intervene in certain things, and that's
We bully them into submission.
so there's this scene with Donald Trump in September of 2019. Anyway, it's not really about who this guy really is. It's about what he's actually standing up against right now. There's a lot of stuff that's coming in about this man. So then this article here, let's see if I can't get the correct article on the screen.
If you need to make it bigger, I can help.
Let's get this one. Let's do this.
All right.
You know what Zelensky should do?
What should Zelensky do?
We're gonna build a wall.
We're gonna
Ukraine
Ukraine
president
wall
to be
between
informed
Russia
by the U.S. Moscow Wednesday.
Build a wall.
Big headline: Moscow attacks Wednesday. The U.S. speaks of a dramatic acceleration of the deployment of forces and troops moving into attack positions. The Mail leaves for Kiev, then goes to Moscow.
Okay, can I just say, just up front, this is so stupid. Like, oh, we got info that Russia's going to attack on Wednesday, so then we're going to leak it, and then everybody's going to know about it. It's like, really? Does that even make sense? Do you think Russia's actually going to attack on Wednesday now? Like,
They're
maybe it'll
attacking.
be Friday.
They've been
I mean, like, what
attacking.
the hell? Like, I mean, this is so damn stupid. Like, I don't understand. And then people just sit here and I just have to listen to these people all day. It's like, oh, well, yeah, we got info today. Like, it was on the news or whatever, like on TV. It was over at somebody else's house today. And they're like, oh, yeah, they were talking about this and they were talking about, they're going to invade this day. And I'm thinking, oh, so they just have one set day. They're just going to pour everybody in and oh, we just conveniently found out. And then, oh, look, now it's all over the media. Like, I mean, none of this makes sense. This is so damn stupid. None of this makes sense. But anyways,
that's all.
Anyways, the article
is
says
Kievan Rus, or was it Kievan Rus?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the foundations of Russia. That is the foundation of Russia. It's Kiev and Rus.
Right.
So.
Right. So, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been informed of the day of the Russian attack on Wednesday, February 16th. First, the CNN reported it was breaking news that Zelensky himself stated that he was informed that the day of the Russian invasion will be February 16th, added, however, that it's not the first time that the date is mentioned. Our country is stronger than ever. Zelensky said again, inviting all the population on February 16th to wave the Ukrainian flags and wear the national colors. We will make February 16th the day of unity. We want peace. We want to resolve all issues exclusively through negotiations. He added, praising the Ukrainian army, which is much stronger than it was 8 years ago.
Thanks, Obama.
Does this sound like somebody who's terrified that Russia's going to steamroll everybody and just mow the whole country down and push them into the mud or the guck or whatever the hell's over there?
Not quite.
I mean,
It does. It really sounds like that's what's really going to come down to. We're just going to stand back and we're going to watch them take over the Ukraine.
No. I mean, is this guy here? Does this guy sound like someone who's horrified? Oh my God! Russia's going to take over and assassinate me and they're just going to overthrow the whole freaking I mean, it's
Once
like,
you
oh,
get
they're
into
going to invade Wednesday. Like,
it kind of sounds like he has something to make
Well,
me do
maybe
with
he
it.
really is actually terrified, but he's just a good actor.
he just rather everybody pour out in the streets and just get run over by tanks. Like, it's like, I mean, what the hell? Like, it's like,
One of these things is gonna have to stop close to zero.
yeah. He pulls off the mask. He's Bill Gates.
Yeah, it turns out he's Bill Gates. Would have got
I
away
was
with it
here
too.
the whole time.
If it weren't for you meddling kids.
I guess you
Even-
just got to be careful. Anywho's,
There has been a dramatic acceleration in the deployment of Russian forces on the border of the Ukraine, and the U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken calling on all Americans still in Ukraine to leave the country immediately. Russia
as the
over the
president's calling
weekend
everyone to pour
It's
out in the
Russia's
streets.
border too. Sorry, I'm gonna be devil's advocate here, right?
No,
It is
yeah,
Russia's
no,
border.
Right, they share the same.
It's
Russia-
literally their
There's-
border. It's
it's
like,
So they're
literally
saying
two
Ukraine's
sides to
border,
the
right?
border.
Anytime in the news you'll hear Ukraine's border on Ukraine's border on this border, and it's like it's Russia's border too, right?
Right.
but that's the thing.
It's
They don't
like
see
saying-
Russia as legitimate. You just dismiss anything
Right.
of Russia. Anything
Russia
of
has all right they want to actually mass as many troops as they want along the Russian border. The problem is that they're not just doing it at the Russian-Ukraine border. They're doing it all the way around in other countries, facing it towards the Ukraine. So that's the reason why they call it the Ukraine border for a lot of it.
Then
Um,
okay, well, looking at that, right? Let's take a line from history. What about the Maginot Line? Right? You could
Right.
say that the French were amassing troops and weapons on the German border. Right? Just a thought.
What's
No,
the
yeah,
Maginot
Around
Line?
it, but
Right, we're bolstering, the NATO, presence or whatever to keep the, the infidels in their own country. Because we don't want, to spread war any further than just the Ukraine. So it's like we're pretty much allowing this to happen.
We're sitting and watching
Well,
it happen.
Sit there and watch it.
I mean, we did see, or well, they came out about the propaganda video, right? With the bodies, they said with bodies and fake explosions. Notice they didn't say fake bodies, right? So it's just things like that. So I think there has been hot conflict and there are deaths and stuff, but it's very
I mean,
contained right now.
yes, as I have stated in other. I mean, I'm not the only one that said this, but I mean, like, as I've stated on this show previous times. I mean, there's been a proxy war going on the entirety of the Russian border between NATO hired mercenary
It's
people
always
and
been
other different
proxy
people.
wars. That's
Since
pretty much
like
what it is.
2013, 2014, when they overthrew the government in
It's been
Ukraine with the
proxy
color
wars
revolution.
since it's been proxy wars since 1947, bro.
I mean, that's right.
Like,
That's exactly what Vietnam and
75 years, yeah.
all these other big.
But I
massive
mean,
wars
Russia's a
that
different
wars.
government. That's what I'm saying. Like it wasn't
It's
like
always
that.
when it comes down to it. It's always the same thing, though. It's always democracy, quote unquote, versus communism. So I mean, it's no matter
They're
where
not
you.
communists anymore.
Oh, what the fuck?
Socialists, just like we are.
Democratic socialists.
We're not totally communistic yet. We're only halfway there.
Anywho, let's continue.
Next little paragraph kind of just says that they actually moved their embassy temporarily from Kiev to Lviv over the weekend, strengthened its military device on the border of the Ukraine. The CBS quoting an American official writing that some Russian troops near the border with Ukraine have started to move into attack position, moving part of the long-range artillery into firing position. possible agreement. On the other hand, EU sources argue that the invasion would only be a bluff that is far from imminent, and the Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov himself argues that there are chances of finding an agreement. The opportunities for dialogue are not exhausted. There are always a chance to solve the problems that need to be solved. So, I mean, Boris Johnson and Joe Biden themselves agreed on the phone call that there remains an opportunity to resolve the crisis with diplomacy. So apparently, everybody's still thinking the potential for them to actually, resolve this, diplomatically, by actually talking as opposed to actually fighting with each other. It could possibly be a thing. It'd be great if they could actually do it and
Well,
leave.
clearly it's too late for that now.
But right, you've been massing troops around the Ukrainian border, and not just the Russian-Ukrainian border, but every border all the way around, including maneuvering boats into the Black Sea or whatever. Because you've already taken the taken over territories before. I mean, Crimea has always been an issue.
Can I ask a couple of questions?
No.
So what happened? What happened? I want to say, was it this past summer or was it the summer before? With Israel. Remember them getting bombarded by missiles?
Oh, from Hamas, yeah.
Hamas. Yeah, the ballistic
From
missiles and everything.
Hamas.
Yeah, from Hamas and all that. But all you heard about in the news was ballistic missiles, the ABMs, anti-ballistic missile systems, right? That's all you heard. And so that's all you heard all the time. Oh, look how crazy! Look how good this is! Look at blah blah blah, shooting them all down. Look at this! Look at this! And it's like, well, the United States went and gave money to Palestine, who
They
turned around.
continuously give them money every year to do.
I have to step away.
We basically gave them the stuff, right? It was like, don't use this against Israel. Wink, wink. Hey, Israel, use this, right? And so what America is doing is we're moving ABMs in toward Russia to negate their nuclear capability and their ballistic missiles and systems and all that, right? So we're trying to basically put up a perimeter where we can shut down anything coming out of Russia and just completely cripple them, right? It gets rid of the whole deterrence option, right? And so that's why Russia is really pissed off, because we've been moving ABMs closer and closer and closer to Russia, and they don't like it. Right?
I mean, yeah, it's like that. I mean, I've made this comparison again on this program here of like, I mean, what if like freaking, I don't know, like the Chinese were in Mexico and they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna like set up missiles here and we're just gonna like, set up different things. We're gonna pay like mercenaries to come in and like they're just gonna help the Mexican government and the cartels and people, right? But they're totally not gonna do anything. They're like pointed directly at you too. But like, I mean, we love you. I mean, we're not gonna do anything. And then, oh shit.
Yep.
I mean, it's like what the hell did you expect?
That? How did Kennedy handle that? Well, except it was Cuba, right? He did a blockade, right? So, but that's really not an option with Russia. So, they're trying to counter this whole situation. And that's why we dodged a bullet in 2016 with Hillary. But yeah, this very similar thing happened with Iraq, right? A lot of the Middle Eastern countries did not like Iraq. You know why they didn't like Saddam Hussein? He had his scientists and stuff develop basically a cannon.
Because he was installed by the United States of America. Oh,
no, he developed a cannon that would hit anywhere in the Middle East, right? And so basically all of the Middle East was under threat and could hit them anywhere without having to go in. And people didn't like that. So we went in and handled stuff. I think the scientist got assassinated, and then if I'm not mistaken, and then a whole bunch of shit got done, and then we went in. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. But it's basically kind of the same situation now, with Russia, is that they're having their heels cut out from underneath them, and while they still have an escape or a way to get leverage, they're trying to make that move, and we're forcing their hand in this. And we need to be careful because the U.S. already wanted to get out of NATO, and under Trump, he wanted to get us out of NATO, and a lot of Americans want to get out of NATO. Um, so for Putin to say, hey, don't let them into NATO. I mean, they're their own country; they can do what they want, but at the same time, it's kind of self-defeating. So, just interesting, inconsistent.
Okay. So this continued to with a comment from John Kirby, who said Russian military action is possible at any time. We do not believe that Vladimir Putin has already made a final decision, which I believe is a lie from John Kirby, because there's no way that Vladimir Putin hasn't made final decisions on what he's doing. He's moved, more and more troops. We've been watching him. I know that I have anyway. I've been watching enough KLW World News to make most people just probably get ill or whatever. I mean, it's very, very interesting what kind of information you can actually pick up from um, other sources or whatever that are out in this world. So then tomorrow, Tuesday the 15th, which is now today, Italy too will try to card a direct diplomacy to arrive at a peaceful solution. The first mission planned by Rome is entrusted in the Foreign Minister Luigi Di Maio, expected in Kiev, and then in Moscow under the double track support for Ukraine, but also the open channel with the Russians, in line with the prudent approach pursued by European partners such as France and Germany, compared with by more uncompromising line of the Americans towards the Kremlin. In Kiev, the head of the Farnesina will reiterate that Italy supports the sovereignty of the integrity of Ukraine with respect to the possible Russian aggression to his Russian colleague Lavrov, who is waiting for him in Moscow probably on Thursday. De Maio will bring clearly unitary and firm messages in close coordination with our European partners and allies, NATO and OSCE, that discourage any aggression or escalation. In the logic of the firm posture of deterrent shared by the Prime Minister Mario Draghi, Draghi, Dra- with the Western leaders in the video conference last Friday. At the same time, Rome wants to keep the door open on confrontation with Moscow to foster the diplomatic and sustainable solution, explained De Maio of the eve of the mission. Sustainable is one of the key words used by Italy in this crisis, which gives a sense of how delicate and implications of a possible economic retaliations against Moscow are. The gas node. On the other hand, the EU has a deal with the energy dependence on the Russians. Italy is one of the most exposed countries, and it is no coincidence that the issue of supplies was among the issue at the center of the telephone conversation between Draghi and Putin last February 1st. So I mean, it's always about money. It's always about oil. It's always about natural resources, and that that they're trying to you know put themselves into. I know a couple of them said that they stepped away, so I believe it's just the shirts that's sitting with me at the moment.
Huh?
Yeah, people get anxious and they gotta go do something when they hear things like these, because these things are not really the funnest thing to actually go to. This next article is a little bit smaller. Um, Again, I like to cover articles from different sources. I don't like to go to just one source and be like, oh, let's just read this and see what these people have to say. No, I like to go other places and let's see what anybody else really has to say as well. So, like I said, this is a fairly small one. This is from the Ukrainian multimedia platform for broadcasting. So this is from Ukraine itself. This is the way I took it when I tried looking it up. So it says the president of the Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, said that he has discussed the security risks posed by Nord Stream 2 with German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. We've talked about Olaf, noting they have some differences in assessment. We have discussed in detail the security risks associated with Nord Stream 2, and here we have some differences in assessment. I stress that our position remains the same. Currently, we consider Nord Stream 2 solely through the prism of energy and security threats to us and the region. We clearly understand that this is a geopolitical weapon, which is why Ukraine needs energy security guarantees, Zelensky said at the joint press conference with Scholz. In a Ukraine Forum correspondent reports. The president added that he suggested launching a specific strategic dialogue in the energy sector to develop energy guarantees and effective support for Ukraine in the energy sector. It is important that Germany becomes a guarantor of continued gas transit through Ukraine. As reported, Nord Stream 2 is a Russian gas pipeline built from Russia to Germany under the Baltic Sea, bypassing Ukraine, the sole shareholder of the project of Gazprom. In August, a German court ruled that Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline was not exempt from the EU gas directive. In November, the German federal regulator postponed the certification of Nord Stream 2 as an independent gas transmission operator. So it seems that this Nord Stream 2 pipeline that, we're all for supposedly here in the United States, because, pushing oil through, different areas of the world is okay, just not through the United States. It just,
Hey, I'm back. Sorry about that.
you're
And
fine.
this reminds me of something that
Yeah.
I was thinking about earlier today, and I was listening to somebody talk about it earlier today,
Cold.
which is that before the Ukraine had their color revolution thing and whatever, and their government was basically overthrown by George Soros and all the rest of those lovely people at the Obama State Department. Before then, they were offered to join NATO. They asked them, "Hey, Ukraine government, like, you want to join NATO? You want to join NATO?" And they were like, I don't know, maybe ish, kinda. I don't know. Let's look at it. And then Russia is like, no, 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 no. We're going to give you better energy deals. We're going to give you better deals with gas. We're going to give you better deals with X, Y, and Z, and so forth and so on. And they were like, oh, okay, so we'll have like a little trade alliance type of thing with Russia, and we'll just leave NATO alone or whatever. And then, oh shit, government of Ukraine gets overthrown by color revolution. George Soros in the State Department of Obama. That's oh, dang. Well, son of a bitch. I mean, it's like,
You got fired.
and it's like, I
So,
mean, yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the control that they had now, and it's like, and here it is. It's like now they're going to Germany, and they're like, hey, yo, we need some energy here, like, because I mean,
you
because
want to know what'll actually
kind
kick
of,
off World War III? What would make it happen overnight? China decides that they're going to start making LP vehicles, liquid propane, or natural gas vehicles. Um, so China starts mass producing um, very cheap and affordable LP vehicles, and then Russia supplies the LP to Europe and China. That causes less need to go into the Middle East and deal with those all the oil and all that, and also removes the stranglehold of the U.S. government on the petrodollar. When that happens, shit's gonna get real, real fast. Because any country that tries to get the petrodollar gets schwacked, right? So that's what happened in Libya. It's what happened in Syria tried it. Iraq was doing it. Um, so I think if China made LP vehicles and Russia sold the LP, that it would be war in a heartbeat.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, from a geopolitical standpoint and a technological standpoint, that makes absolute sense, right? To do that, and I'm honestly shocked that Russia and China are not doing that. Like, I'm honestly surprised. Um, yeah, because thinking about it from a what would I do if I was in their position, right? And that's what you would want to do, right? Because now you're completely independent of the Middle East, right? You're selling goods to another country, so you're bringing gold and currency and boosting your economies, right? There's a far less amount of logistics, a lot less volatility and corruption and inflation and stuff like that with the markets. Just makes a lot more sense to do it that way. Um, but then again, the U.S. has its hands in that, so that could be a major issue there. What's your thoughts on that, sir, Shirts?
I have no thoughts. I don't know what this uh, type of technology is or anything about it. So
Yeah, like a tow motor, right? Like a whole bunch of like a lot of equipment, stuff like that runs off of natural gas, right? Liquid propane. So what you could do is instead of using gasoline, right, you just you fill up LP instead. Um, it, but if there's a car wreck, it's more explosive, that's for sure. But it would, if it's done properly, you could basically become energy independent of the Middle East pretty quickly, like Russia could. That would be huge because the whole oil issue, that was a big problem in World War II. Um, and right now, Germany is getting 50% of its natural gas from Russia, and the European Union, or Europe's getting 40% of its energy from as natural gas from Russia. So Europe um, and Germany, right? They don't want to rock that boat. That's why Germany was doing backroom deals talking to Russia, and has been getting in the way of the United States here. So it's problematic for us at this time. And so if they did do that move, right, where China makes LP vehicles and Russia sells the LP, um, it would destabilize. Actually, it might actually stabilize the Middle East because there wouldn't be so much corruption going on there. Um, but it would be just such a huge uh, geopolitical shift in how everything's ran and done right now that it could easily spark a major conflict. Um, just greed based, really. Um, so yeah, that's about all I gotta say about that. Sorry about that.
interesting perspective. Anywho's,
It is. It's always an interesting perspective when it comes to Grimsby. That's the fun part. So, I love it. No, it's great. So, Web India went and threw out a little thing or whatever that came from them about
Web India?
announcing. Yep, I like to go around the world and actually use different people's sources because different sources give different information.
He can read Mandarin too. What?
Like the
No,
oranges?
just kidding.
we're
Yeah.
told that
Yes,
the
like the
recipients
orange.
of the attack. It says Russia has amassed more than 100,000 troops on the Ukrainian border, with troop buildup and raised concerns over the U.S. and NATO allies and the Russia planned military incursion. Biden administration officials have also warned that Ukraine could be invaded any day now.
Well, you
So
skipped a
it's
sentence. It says, however, Russia has continually denied having any such plans.
there it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Russia continued denied having any such plans of doing anything whatsoever, according to Web India. So, every time that you pick up a new piece of newspaper and you read an article about what's going on or whatever, and somebody adds something a little bit different than what the last one did,
Who's the author?
and you see stuff like this, and you're like, huh. So Russia's still is out of Web India.
Yeah, who's the author?
Some Indian chick, you don't know her. No, I'm just kidding. I have no clue.
Probably.
Let's see if I can get this to. I was trying to keep ads and stuff off the.
Yeah. Because I don't see
It's
an
not
author.
an author name. It's
Yeah,
just
that's not good. That's not good because typically, well, that tells me it's propaganda, right? Because typically you'll have an author. You'll have an author,
and that's why we go
associated with
everywhere and we look at everybody's information and what's coming out of out of different places and different. So it's like you see people posting things like these. It's like it's very interesting, thought and opinion. But if you're going to put stuff like that up there, that they continue denied having any such plans, when they continue of putting more and more troops and forces, on the borders all the way around the whole country of the Ukraine.
Define near.
Damn well.
Scroll down. Scroll down. Yeah.
You can
Scroll
see
down.
this is
There's a couple things I want to talk about
this morning. What are you looking for?
Yeah, so if you scroll down, it says near the Ukraine border up top. Any such plans is a sentence before that. Near the Ukraine border. They're not telling you how far off. They're not saying what near is. It's the first of that paragraph right above.
They're pretty much right. They've been crossing the line for months. There's no.
Well, I'm just trying to wrap my head around it.
Crossing state lines is just stupid.
Cross state lines.
It is. So this article, that's why I bring it up though, is because it had a couple interesting points in there or whatever. But then when you look at it, you're like, well, who actually had anything to do with this? Who wrote this? Who put this out there? We're calling the person out that actually did this, because whoever did this, if you don't know this for sure and you're releasing this kind of information, maybe couple more people should actually know about this. I mean, these quotes any day now, and the Swift and severe costs, those are actual quotes that come out of Joe Biden. So.
Well, he said, but they also left out the part where they will eventually win over time. Right? They conveniently left that line out.
Maybe not the best website to actually go to actually get your news.
Yeah, it's just some freaking website in India. I mean, God, I've never heard of this before. What the hell?
I don't know.
So it's.
Did you see the car warranty? The car warranty ad pop up.
That's why I was like trying to block some of that.
No, that was a joke. He said India. Because you're always getting those car warranty phone calls, scammer calls.
I don't get any of
HP
those kind
technical
of calls.
We've
support.
come to talk to you about your limited warranty.
It's Jimmy. He's back. So
Jimmy's
this is The
back.
Hill. The Hill released a couple of interesting things today to go along with um, potential
Who wrote it?
declaration of wars on Wednesday. Who wrote this? Is Michael
By
Schnell.
Michael Schnell. At the very top. I want to get that real quick.
That's what it said. This is from Michael Schnell. So, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Monday declared that Wednesday will be a day of unity as he addressed reports that the Russian invasion of his country could begin that day. We're not going to read this whole damn article. We don't need to. Because all of the stuff that they're actually pointing out in here is really seriously so close to the first couple of articles that I had put out, which is amazing to me that the Hill actually did their job and they actually kind of releasing some of proper information. I would still suggest, there's the 100,000 Russian troops, which kind of helps out with the article that I wasn't so sure about because they decided to omit certain information.
Was that Michael or Michelle?
And there's the comments from Joe Biden, swift and severe costs, and then Antony Blinken announced the move of the embassy from Kiev to Lviv. So I mean,
Yeah, I think that India
all
article
pretty
was probably
much
bot generated, man.
right. It's all pretty much the same. So the only thing that I was left that I was I'm going to show you.
Oh wait! Go back to that. I thought you were going to read over it, but there's like a little.
I just kind of skimmed through it because it pretty much points out everything that we read through off of the other several articles. Let me pull that back up for you. It really didn't have too much different. I was pretty proud.
It's a little bit different. If you scroll down, I have like some talking of the Ukrainian president's perspective. Like it says right there in the middle, it says Zelensky and Ukraine's government have criticized the United States at times for overstating the danger of an imminent Russian invasion of their country.
Uh-oh. Guys, U.S. government wouldn't lie to us.
What's your guys' take on this? Like, do you care personally if the Ukraine gets taken by Russia?
The Ukraine was part of Russia during our lifetime.
Do you care if it gets taken by them?
Right. Do we care if it goes back to being
USSR,
Russian
not Russia.
territory? I mean,
no, I don't care.
I think
I'm sure the people there care.
For a reason.
Half the people there identify as Russians, right? So it's like, well,
I was watching something. I don't remember what I was exactly watching, but the guy actually goes through and explains that Russians are horrible. I was watching Lee Wheelberg this morning. He's like,
scroll down.
Russia has amassed a force of
you
more
saw
than
that, didn't you?
He's like Russians are horrible. That reset itself.
Right there above, right where it says a quotation. Wait. I missed it. Where did you go? Shoot.
Control F Intel.
It says he said later. This is the Ukrainian president. He said later, I won't get into a specific date. I don't think that would be smart. I would just tell you that it is entirely possible that he could move. Oh wait, no, that's Kurt. Where's the quote? I just missed the quote. Like you refreshed it. I was looking at it.
Yeah,
because he said basically today, where I read it someplace else today, where he basically, the president of Ukraine, came out and basically was like,
we are told that February 16th will be the day of the attack.
Yeah, but then he said like he wasn't being all that serious, or like he was kind of funnying around with that date that he.
The Associated Press, citing intelligence obtained by the U.S., reported that Russia was eyeing Wednesday as the target date for an attack. Associated Press, citing intelligence. See, that's the thing. When I hear U.S. intelligence, I have a major problem because I do recall a 20-year fucking conflict over intel that was a lie, and it was known to be a lie, um, and it was pushed out to get us to go into Iraq, and and when the guy, the thing, the one guy,
You know the thing.
yeah, um, he got called out for saying that his assertions were evidence, right? He got called out by a reporter for that. And so
Oh, here it is. Here it is. It says I pulled up the article myself. It says Ukrainian officials told reporters in Kiev that Zelensky was not being literal about an attack on Wednesday, though that day has circulated in the news reports as a possible opening day of a Russia campaign in Ukraine. So basically, his people were like, "Oh, well, he wasn't literal. He wasn't being literal. He was just like a guesstimation or whatever." So, like, wow, there you go. Isn't that interesting? But yet, every freaking report is like, "Oh my God, it's Wednesday, everybody." It's like,
So
what?
then, to teach everybody out there
And then where
that's
did that
actually
date come
just
from? Oh,
listening
U.S.
to us, the
intelligence.
moral of the story
we
is
have a
to see,
couple
I
of
kind of
Germans on the
skip through it.
screen.
And I said, you see, it's just pointing out the same things as everybody else, right? And these guys went and they actually pulled out and they said, no, wait a minute, look at these. There's this sentence, this sentence, this sentence, this sentence. And they read those sentences and they actually extrapolated what they actually needed to extrapolate from it and showed you that there's more information in that article than what I was initially even telling you. So if you're not paying attention and you're just thinking, oh, all news sources are going to tell me the same thing, you're greatly mistaken. You got to seriously pay attention to what you're actually reading, and you'll actually see what's going on.
And not only do you look for, whenever you're reading a news story, you don't just read A, you read for the implications of not A. That's the most important.
Right. But and that's exactly what
Be
happened. Though,
extremely
is
freaking
because I
cynical.
didn't actually read through the whole article for you. I just pointed out, oh, see, look, this looks like it's about the same. But these guys actually said, no, wait a minute. There was a couple sentences in there.
Yeah.
And that's what you need to actually look for. You need to look at all of the sentences that are in there and actually read everything. So then the hell.
Okay, so
This
can I just say
goes along. This goes right along. This video that we're going to play here goes right along this 11-minute video. So
there can
we're
only
gonna
be
see if
one Grim.
squeezes through.
So it
And
is.
and real men don't have yellow phones there. Knock off Grim.
At least it's not hot pink. God, it could be
So-
worse. Holy hell.
So these guys
Least it'd be
from
Oh.
Hill.tv,
Could you be wearing
they
lipstick?
actually have a nice little conversation here. I was told that I didn't need to go and read anything else. I could just show this and then have a show. And
Probably gonna get struck for this video, so you know.
well, we'll see.
Well claimed.
Because
Batya Ungar Sargon is here to break down reports alleging that the Hillary Clinton campaign paid tech workers to dig up a Donald Trump-Russia connection.
Allegedly.
Then journalist Justin Ling will be here to discuss the Freedom Convoy along the U.S.-Canadian border.
Right now, we'd like to focus our attention on the rising tensions between Russia and Ukraine. President Biden and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky had a phone call yesterday morning where Biden assured the Ukrainian president that the U.S. will respond swiftly and decisively to any further aggression by Russia against Ukraine. The call took place as U.S.
Where's the
officials
top of
continue to
Biden's fucking
say a
head?
Russian attack.
Go back.
I'm gonna have to step away again real quick.
Where the hell is the top of his head?
It's his hair. It's translucent. I keep telling
That is
people
not
this.
his hair. That is not his head. That was photoshopped. Look around him. That's a Photoshop. Biden's not in that chair.
it's just white hair.
That image is a Photoshop. It has to be. That's crazy.
Russia against Ukraine. The call took place as U.S. officials continue to say a Russian attack could happen, quote, any day now, urging all Americans who are still in Ukraine to leave the country. The State Department said that Poland has opened its borders to Americans leaving Ukraine.
So Poland opened its borders to Americans leaving Ukraine. It didn't say that they opened their borders to anybody else. They just opened their borders to the Americans leaving the Ukraine.
But as U.S. media and the military continue to sound the alarm on a Russian planned attack, Ukrainian President Zelensky said over the weekend that he is demanding to see proof of a planned invasion and said the warnings of an attack were only, quote, provoking panic and not helping us, saying, quote, if you or anyone has any additional information about a 100% chance of an invasion, give it to us.
Exactly,
Now, according to
exactly.
US official, the US
And this is like this stupid thing where it's like, oh
But
my
we
golly,
said it.
we have the info that Russia's going to put off a false flag. It's like, well, where's the evidence of it? Well, I just told you. It's like, well, that doesn't give me any evidence. Well, I told you. It's like, but
Assertions
you're not
are
giving me
not
anything.
facts.
But I freaking told you. Now shut up. I mean, that's what it is. It's like
Mm-hmm.
U.S. intelligence just claims this thing, and everybody, the whole world, is just expected to believe it, and all the mainstream media just is like, oh my god. And Bloomberg puts out an article, or not an article, it puts out live. This is live happening now. Like, what was it, like a week ago or so? That Russia is invading Ukraine. Oh my god. Live. Watch it now. Oh my god. It's like, what? That didn't happen. I mean, this is literally, I mean, that's what's happening here. Like, this is what's happening. Like, if you didn't think that there was a little bit of collusion between intelligence people and news people, well,
Yeah.
I don't think we have been paying attention to the past, let's say, 5
Thanks,
years.
Obama.
Oh, yeah, legit. Yeah, they never help.
There was a law that used to exist where U.S. government could not use propaganda on the American people, and under Obama, that got nixed.
Yes, that got reversed. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And that being
Go
said,
figure.
yes, dude, yeah. And so, I mean, it still doesn't help if they did it anyway, right? Just found other ways. But Biden, he's giving ultimatums and this, that, the other. But they're ultimatums from a wet fucking noodle. His track record's trash. You know, he bungles everything he's done since he's been in. And
Since he's been in the Senate, he's fucked up everything that he's touched.
well, you know, his own words, you shouldn't assume he's not corrupt.
Right, exactly. I mean, I don't know. I mean, for what they did for Biden to actually get the position that he's in, they should have done it for Hillary, for fuck's sake.
Oh my god, I know. It's like, I was listening to somebody talk about that. Was it like a day or 2 years ago? Where it's just like, it's like Hillary has to be in like someplace just in a back corner screaming like, why the hell did you do this for me? Why? Like why didn't you put all of this effort into putting me into this position?
Because the American deep state is systematically misogynist. That's why. That's why.
Let's see what these guys have to say.
Has picked up intelligence that Russia is looking at Wednesday as a target date. However, that evidence has not been made public. Currently, there are more than 130,000 American troops staged near Ukraine's borders. That's up from the 100,000 the U.S. has cited publicly in previous weeks.
He said that information has not been made public. Not that evidence has not been made public. Why that phrasing?
Not sure.
Yeah, I got a mule over that
Good
one.
question, though.
Yeah, I got a mule over that one. Anyway.
Right.
Yep.
And now the Ukraine could drop its bid to join NATO in order to avoid war with Russia. Director of the Institute for Global Transformations in Kyiv, Dr. Oleksiy Semeny, is here to discuss. Welcome.
Writers brought to you by.
Welcome to you, Robbie and Ryan.
Thanks so much for joining us. Now, so do you think if Ukraine is very clear about that they're not wanting to be involved in NATO, would that at this point de-escalate hostilities?
Yes, kill him with
If it is going to have just a very strict statement, because you mentioned the statement of our ambassador in UK, Volodymyr Zelensky, former Minister for Foreign Affairs. But immediately afterwards, actually, there was a statement from the same embassy and then the statement of the spokesperson of MFA here in Kiev that actually you have misunderstood in some another context. So it is going to be quite a delicate question exactly today to which extent this statement is open the way for handling the issue that Ukraine, okay, maybe cancel this, or for some period cancel this aim about NATO membership, because actually this aim is fixed in our constitution for last 3 years. That's why it's not very easy. So I suppose that actually, if it is going to happen like this,
Watch
And
his
the other
eyes.
aspect of this is that it's like, okay, so everybody says that like Ukraine's a sovereign nation. They can decide, if they want to join NATO. I mean, sure, they can decide, but NATO doesn't have to accept them. I mean, that's the other aspect. Like NATO does not have to accept them because they already have standing agreements with Russia that go back to like freaking Reagan and Gorbachev, and like freaking. I mean, and then beyond that, as the Soviet Union collapsed, and then you had the Russian Federation, and then there was agreements there, and it's like NATO doesn't have to accept anybody that they don't want to. It's like, but Ukraine can do whatever they want. Yeah, and you're standing there opening your arms like, hey, let's do this. It's like, I mean,
No means no, NATO. Getting a little rapey vibe here.
It's like Ukraine can decide they want to join, but I mean, but it's like, but they can't force themselves into the club. Like the club has to welcome them in, And so like this argument is sort of like half brain.
I got the safe word. You don't need it. It's you're safe with me.
Safe word, apples.
it will open the way.
Oh, that was the expert callback.
But yeah, so like this question of like, if they announce that they are not going to join the NATO or whatever, it's like, but NATO's the one that's telling them to join and wants them to come in. Like, Ukraine just can't bust open the door and be like, I'm a part of NATO now, shut up. Like, that's not going to happen. They have to be accepted. So this whole question of like, as they're asking him, right? It's like, if they just announce that they don't really want to be a part of NATO or whatever, it's like NATO could come out and say, we don't want men because we don't want a freaking war. How about that? How about we back troops off? How about that? But like, oh no, we're not going to do that. We're just going to keep that up, and then we'll put Ukraine in the middle, and we'll be like, well, I don't. So yeah, there you go. I mean, this whole question is like, really?
For the escalation,
it's kind of
there
like
was already the positive reaction from the Russian side, namely from Press Secretary of the President of the Russian Federation, that yes, it will escalate. So in general, if it will be like you mentioned, it will actually provide some maneuver for the escalation.
And so can you explain to us why there seems to be so much daylight between the public positioning of Zelensky versus the public positioning of the United States? The United States saying, war is coming every second, and Zelensky saying, stop it, you're panicking everybody, you've gotten airlines to shut down flights, it's almost as if
reveal.
We're the ones being sanctioned as a result of this panic. Why so much daylight between ostensible allies here over this question?
Actually, there are two, from my perspective, there are two main reasons. Because this some kind of minor disagreement, it's not like for yesterday or the week before. It's actually the case since November, when the first statements from the United States intelligence services actually appeared through some media and then were countered by Kyiv. The first reason is that indeed, after the lessons in 2014, we Ukrainians, because we are quite close, we have the border with Russian Federation, we do know quite well, we suppose, maybe even better, the psychology of Russians and Russian military and their allies. That's why we can actually, the same facts, we can translate a little bit in another way that our Western partners. And the reason number two, if, for example, Zelensky will state or would state the same as it was stated by many already Western capitals and officials, that would have provoked a lot of, I would say, even panic here, which nobody wants to happen here. And you should understand the positioning of the president here, who is responsible for the country, who is responsible for security and some kind of calm situation, because already now, after the second, I would say, circle of this escalation started, I suppose it has started after the negotiations in Berlin in Normandy format. actually the economic situation, the exchange rate is going now down. And of course, nobody from Ukrainian officials would like to have the picture as it is now developing. And they try somewhere to calm down to the extent it is possible. So you can understand actually the normal reasoning of that people.
Are we making an invasion more likely? Is the U.S. making it more likely by engaging in the kind of rhetoric that we're engaged in right now?
Literally, yes.
Yes.
Very sharp question, but the answer will be diplomatic one.
See that smirk? He tried to
I would say,
go back about 10 seconds. Look at him try to bury that smirk, and he laughs.
Is the U.S. making it more likely by engaging in the kind of rhetoric that we're engaged in right now?
Very sharp question, but the answer will be diplomatic one. I would say the rhetoric from
Measuring his
all of the
words real hard.
sides for the last 3 days actually provokes the further escalation, provokes the situation when none of the sides will find it possible to step back or to reach some kind of compromise, not to the face, which actually provokes the possibility, which not, from my perspective, was the basic scenario. So military escalation or large-scale invasion from Russia, it was not the basic scenario until the last week. But now, it is becoming more and more possible. Although already, from my perspective, it is not still the basic scenario. So we have the space to settle it down or to avert to some extent.
U.S. is
So
going to make it happen
does the
on
United
purpose.
States...
That's what I caught. What did you guys catch?
Grim, stop talking. Grim's talking.
You can support him at americasharts.com.
share its intelligence with its Ukrainian counterparts? In other words, if the United States does have this rock-solid intelligence that they won't share with the American public, do they share it with Ukrainian counterparts? And if so, it doesn't seem like the Ukrainians
His phone
are
blends
buying
in
it.
with the paper thing that he has there sitting on top
The
of it. That's
answer
bad.
is yes and no. Yes, but the question is to what extent, and it is normal. They can share this not fully, because some elements, due to their sensibilities, they will not share, not with Ukrainians, and some of information they will share with nobody. It's normal practice by intelligence services. But actually, the next
I
issue very
literally
important.
thought Grim is
even
going to say something about that. His name. I literally, I'm just sitting here. I'm like, he's gonna say. I knew it.
Alexei Semeny.
Out of everything that's come out of this man's mouth,
Alexei
that's what
Semeny.
catches you. He's like, oh, I just caught his name finally.
Go back. Look. He wants Alexei Semeny. That's what he wants to do.
And some of the information they will share with nobody. It's normal practice by intelligence services. But actually, the next issue, very important, if even you share the information, then you should take into account how you translate this information. And the issue is that Ukrainian side since November is a little bit differentiating in translating this information, adding to wrong information, because we have on the ground as well the information. Because from my perspective, for example, for satellite and some many technical facilities, of course, United States is maybe #1 all over the world globally. But on the ground, knowing the information, knowing the psychology, using the informal networks, let's be honest, from the Russian side, we can have just another loop. And on the basis of this, maybe actually the president and his team is taking the position which they have taken before. Let's see how it will develop further. From my perspective, actually the next 2-3 days will be quite crucial.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us here certainly don't automatically trust what we hear, what U.S. officials tell us, because they get it wrong. So, why would we put more stock in what our government is saying versus the government that's involved in the actual matter, in the actual question, right?
Yep. And the problem is, from my perspective, which makes the situation very, let's take it diplomatic, ambiguous. that, for example, if you imagine already in the American press and some Western media, it was fixed the date
Diplomatic,
beat 15,
called
beat
it
16 as the date of
intel. That's him being diplomatic.
I mean, let's just be blatantly honest here. It's because the U.S. is doing this because they want a war.
Yeah,
I mean, let's
absolutely.
just be completely transparent. They're doing this and they're agitating all of this because they want a war. Because inflation's out the rear end, the Fauci ouchie stuff's coming to a head, if you will. All of this kind of stuff's coming to a head, and they want a war.
Yep.
This is what they do. The freaking, I mean, if
It's a
the
wag the
stock
dog.
market.
It's a wag the dog situation, man.
Speaking of licking cinnamony, I'm back, guys. How's it going?
Oh God.
Oh my freaking lord!
Elixir.
He's like back there. He's
Yeah,
like, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna turn on. Jimmy's like, I'm planning. I'm planning.
Like,
I'm
I just got to look.
gonna
I
walk in
just
here.
got to look around. Somebody, no, I'm gonna go talk about it.
Spoonful of semen helps syphilis go down. Syphilis go down.
the Russian invasion.
In
I
the
hope
most
it will not happen, and
delightful
let's
way.
imagine it
Oh
had
my
not
God.
happened.
Kim says I'm going to see how many channels I can take down at once.
Then, automatically, if it had not
Is that
happened,
why he has
the
the dual stream?
automatic question will
The
be
prey
to
approach.
all Western leaders, to some extent media or intelligence, what the hell? You actually stated that the invasion will happen, the invasion did not happen, so it will be the issue of credibility, and then backwards, it actually provokes many sides not to lose the face. If you publicly stated that something is going to happen, and then some event did not happen, you have troubles. And that
No shit.
actually is very, very dangerous, because it can provoke
No
that I
freaking shit.
cannot lose my face. I would prefer something to happen definitely, because otherwise it will be quite problematic for me, for my actually whole trust and the whole some kind public assets globally, which actually, for example, first of all, United States needs now very, very due to China, due to Russia, due to many other issues, even with their own allies. Actually, the trust is very delicate question for United States now, especially now.
I mean,
So
and
to-
if
to
you
put
could
a
just pause this for just
point
a
on it,
second.
so do you-
It's like he has to delicately step around and tiptoe and try and talk about like, oh yeah, maybe if the US says something and then it doesn't come true, maybe we can't really trust them. Like, really? I mean, this is where we're at, where we literally have to sit here and like tiptoe around and like make the like US government feel good because, oh, we're going to call you on your bullshit. I mean, this is where we're at. Like, you can't just call it as you see it because, oh, well, that might be a little too controversial. I might be called a conspiracy theorist. And I can't be, I won't be trusted if I don't go along with whatever the hell the United States government says is true. It's like, well, guys, I mean, think about it for just a second, right? Like, if the US says something and then it doesn't come true, can we really trust them? No shit, you can't. I mean, honestly, but this is where we're at. It's like, you cannot criticize the Pentagon or else like, oh my God, you are some crazy wackadoo. I mean, this is where we're at in the world. For a freaking Ukrainian literally can't criticize the Pentagon. He's not even an American.
So he actually
And the intelligence agencies, all that.
On the
Pentagon
flip side of
intelligence
that,
agencies, yeah.
Yeah. On the flip side of that, right? Russia, they never do anything unless both outcomes are a win. Right? So let's put it this way. Russia gets ready to do an attack or make a propaganda video or do something like that. Let's say they were going to do some kind of incursion, right? A minor incursion, air quotes. U.S. says, hey, they're going to attack on this date. They don't attack. Well, they're going to do this on this date, and then they don't do it, right? And so they basically do the what's the word called? Crying wolf, right? The sheep that cried wolf, right? Wolf, 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 and so Russia basically is like destroys by Russia trying to do stuff, and the U.S. saying, you know what? Hey, every time we call out what Russia's going to do, they don't do it. That's easy. Let's just say that every time. And then the US just does stuff to make the Russia does things that they may have been able to get away with, but they say, you know what? No, 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 no. If they say something, we're not going to do it. That'll make them look inept and stupid.
Just so the chat calms down for a second. It's the boy that cried wolf. We know. It's the boy, not the sheep that cries. We get it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, but do you honestly think that if Russia had a plan, like, oh, we're going to invade Wednesday, that like, oh, gee, the entire freaking planet is telling everybody that we're going to invade Wednesday, and maybe we should do it Friday, guys? Okay, yeah. I mean, really? I mean, like, everybody knows we're going to do this day, so like, let's change the date. Like, I mean,
no, I mean, this happens all the time, right? You spin up to do something. Your adversaries see it. They spin up to do something. And then you just step back. And they sit there for a little while. And then they come down, right? So both sides get ready and they stop. And get ready and they stop. And get ready and they stop, right? Till one time slips up and boom, then you go. But what's happening now is that it's on the world stage. So you have the US calling out what Russia's going to do, and they would have done it, right? Let's give them
allegedly.
Let's say their assertions, let's say all the assertions were actually evidence. Let's say they actually showed the evidence. Let's say they actually released this stuff, right?
There is no difference between Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden. There's no difference between terrorists and Vladimir Putin. I mean, I could just see this.
I know. I'm not trying to be cynical. I know. I'm just saying, from Russia's point of view, what they're doing is they're setting themselves up in a win-win situation, and that's what he's trying to explain, right? And I think the two journos there didn't pick up on what he was getting at. You know?
Okay, so there's like 40 seconds left of these two journos. So let's see what they have to finish off saying.
Yeah, Grim is talking.
Do you think that the American rhetoric and all of these American predictions
he's talking.
have made a Russian invasion more likely or less likely in the end?
So he didn't even answer it.
Let's be honest. Option one.
More likely. Yeah.
Well, there it is.
Saber rattling can be dangerous.
Well, Alexei Semenyi, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, shit.
Thank you, Robin and Ryan.
We appreciate your...
We don't need to listen to what they say because the rest of this is just going away.
Yeah, it's a long haul strategy, right? U.S. is thinking that they'll be able to pull one over on Russia by calling it out, but U.S. is destroying our credibility in the meantime. And so far as they're not releasing actual fucking intel. You know, if they came out and said, hey, here's the images, here's this, here's that, boom,
it's
PowerPoint slide, let's go.
Right, as you were talking about the Cuban Missile Crisis earlier, right? It's like Kennedy put out the freaking footage. Like, they had the photographs of the freaking missiles.
He was like, right here, look, get bent. Yeah, and
this is nothing. This is just some little prick in the freaking State Department just bitching at some reporter. I told you Russia's going to put out a propaganda piece. They're going to put out a fake, a false flag, and they're going to make a film about it, and they're going to do that. Well, that sounds nice. Is there any evidence for this? Is there any intel? Is there any documents, papers? But I just told you. I mean, that's literally what we're dealing with.
The problem is, from a classified point of view, right? Sources, methods, and capabilities, right? Those are typically classified. So if you have the actual evidence, right, and you want to show the crystal clear evidence, like the best possible stuff we got to show, then you're basically showing capabilities. It allows them to get ahead later on down the road. But at a certain point, it's as if the way things are classified is how do I say this? It's self-defeating, right? Because by classifying sources, methods, and capabilities, like the actual numeric capabilities and things, there's a lot that can be derived from the imagery. But certain points like doctor it down or zoom in or something like that and just kind of show, you know, like get just enough resolution to prove your fucking point.
So I'm kind of curious. You said that Kennedy put out like actual photographs and things of the missiles during the Cuban Missile Crisis. I was wondering if Bush had tried to like put out some fake photos when he lied about WMDs over in Afghanistan.
Yes.
No.
Weapons of mass destruction. Oh my God. Yeah. No.
No, it was assertions only, man.
We have the intel. Oh my God. It's gonna be all right.
It was everywhere. Fox News and CNN were
Holy
saying the same
hell.
thing.
You
All
gotta
news
figure-
stations were saying the same thing.
You got to figure they know what they're doing when they say stuff like this.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, and that's why I said, I think it was a few months ago, right? If you go to the news and you watch Fox News, and then you go to MSNBC, and you go to CNN, and then you go to OAN, and they're all saying the same thing, they're all tongue punching each other's fart boxes.
Telemundo.
Yeah, and Telemundo saying the same thing, right?
Telemundo!
If they're all tongue punching each other's fart boxes, then you definitely know that it's a psyop. So really keep an eye on that, right? See what the different sides are saying. Because if they're saying the same thing, there's a problem. The problem is it's a plant story.
So, Koolfrogg, is there any other articles? Or is that
No,
it?
that was it. That was what we were gonna do. I had a couple others that they just weren't worth reading. They're just junk. For what they actually went through or whatever, they pretty much covered the same thing. It didn't really go off on too much of a tangent. That was kind of fun. I liked how when we hit the hill, and I kind of tried throwing the article or whatever. I love how you guys picked that up and you actually said, "No, wait a minute. There's a couple sentences that weren't there." I really like how that worked out, and I would hope that people actually pay attention and actually, realize that, hey, we're just a couple guys that are out here trying to read news articles and, throw our opinions at you.
What the hell? You're a freaking frog.
Yeah, see, it's really bad when all of a sudden frogs are getting involved in politics.
I don't like
You're dragging
chemicals in the water.
You're dragging the wrong people into this.
Do you understand that?
Frog went
All
through the
these guys
conversion
have
therapy.
links
He's
down
good now.
below.
He's
America
so curious. Oh my
America
God.
Shirts he's been with me since day one on this or whatever. So
You guys been together
go
since
back
day
and
one,
watch
huh?
everything. Yeah, he's been with me since day one. Seriously, if you actually go and you look at all the links that are down below for all these guys,
I think he
they all have
means something different.
different projects that they work on at all points in time.
Gay.
Without these guys, the show is impossible. But it can be even more possible if you all start paying attention to what we're saying and help us out. Throw us, some love from. I know Grim's sitting there throwing this on his channel as well. And everybody that's listening, if you go and you subscribe to my channel, that's Koolfrogg. You go and you get admission into Discord. A couple of these guys are actually admins in Discord or whatever, so they're mods. They'll be able to get you a link to get you in if you can't get a hold of me.
I will ban you personally.
Get a hold of one of us. We'll help you out. We'll get you a link. We'll get you.
Kinky link, daddy. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
You could do that, or Bill
Why
Gates can.
don't you go ahead and show your channel?
Who?
Shirts.
Oh, well,
America Shots. Are you listening?
America Shirts.
America Sharks.
Well, I was about to say, like, either Jimmy can ban you or Bill Gates can ban you from life itself. Anyway, you can go.
Kill babes.
Yes. Speaking of the devil, and he shall appear on your T-shirt. You can go get the Gil Bates T-shirt.
The
Wear
only
that
band
around.
half of America needs is a lap band.
I'd like a lap dance, if you don't mind.
Go.
Again, that was AmericasShirtsAreFirst.com.
Yes, and using the discount code Koolfrogg, you can get 15% off any of those shirts in the store. And again, we got Bill Gates T-shirt with it's the Bill Gates meme with his jabby stabby
The
hands, and
Base t-shirts on planet.
indeed they are. I mean, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a physician. That's just what the website says, But
I am gay. Doesn't that make you gay?
You are gay. Who says I am gay? You are gay.
All right, sorry. Go ahead.
But yes,
Sure.
go there, and I have a
And
I
then
have
they
a
eat the
T-shirt,
poo-poo.
free Canada.
They eat the poo-poo.
Grab that, wear that around, talk to people, enlighten people, get them, tell them what's really going on up there in Canada as far as the truckers are concerned. Support the truckers with your T-shirt, and everybody that sees your shirts will know the truth. So grab yourself some.
Nice.
Nice. Grim?
Base
Got anything else to
T-shirts.
say?
Overkill.
Beast.
So just to follow up with America Shirts, yeah. If it weren't for the truckers, I would be here. I'd still be at work, but I only had half a day because not so much going on. So support local truckers, and you might see some more of me on here. So
Boom.
yeah. So
I
let's
heart
see.
Honk.
Honka honka.
Honk,
So yeah, you can follow, subscribe, Grim's Bar. Also have a Twitter at Grim Dingleberry, and also I'm on TikTok now with at Grim's Bar. Yeah, go on and hit a follow. I do some funny memes here and there, and sometimes just a little bit whatever the hell I'm feeling like doing. But yeah, that's about all I got to say about that. Your
That's all I
turn.
have to say about that.
That's about all I had to say about that.
Jimmy.
All right, your turn, fucker, Jimmy.
Well, you can follow me at Russell Brand on the main channel. Or if you want to join me on my Spiritual Enlightenment channel, you can follow me over there. It's the second one. You can follow me at Jimmy YouTube here on YouTube, or you can follow me over on TikTok, Rumble, and Odyssey at the Atlas Pass, or you can follow me on Twitter at RealAnimeRich with underscores and capitalizations.
Hey, quick question.
Stop asking
How quick?
questions.
So does your girlfriend always trucker Jimmy?
My girlfriend is actually
And
Cowgirl
I am
Jenny.
illustrious Koolfrogg. You can find me. There's a link tree down below.
Buy
You
me a
can
coffee.
follow me almost everywhere. If you want to actually help me out immediately, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/Koolfrogg. That's KOOLFROGG for the listeners. And don't forget to use that promo code over for shirts. America shirts. He's got some really nice shirts. If he actually started helping
Hey,
me out,
Jimmy,
I
we're all out of
haven't picked him up
over here.
yet, but eventually I'm
Oh,
going to turn on this
by the
camera
way,
and I'm going to show everybody what I look like.
I wore one of my shirts again today, and I had some interesting looks. So people
Actually-
notice. People see it. People notice.
Actually, I might pick up a shirt or two and might start shilling that shit.
Somebody had a funny clip for me.
I did have a funny clip. I thought you said this was a more serious night, so I held on.
No, I said because it was more serious, that might be a good end to the show.
Oh, well then, yes. Let me dig that up really, really quick here.
Yeah,
All I
if you
gotta
got
do
that, we
is-
can pull that up real fast. And
Kinky
we'll go
Linky
around
Daddy,
that clip.
ooh. Hurry up.
It wasn't.
I can just share my
Ooh.
screen once I get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
What was that game you were
bam.
playing where she was like trying to get the senpai? Was it Futanari Simulator or something?
Oh yeah, that's my favorite.
Oh my god.
You can customize your character to where it's balls or no balls, and I just approve.
Oh man.
That way it appeals to the masses. All right, I have the video here. Oh, that is Discord for whatever reason. Thank you so much. Okay, let's pull that over there. Oh, there, now I feel like I'm streaming. Okay. Chrome tab. Valentine's Day. Hayaku. I'm trying. Gambatte.
Wow.
So Koolfrogg speaks Mandarin and these guys speak Japanese. Damn.
Nihongonese, if you please. Because we are
Nihongo.
Siamese.
Nihongo dake kudasai.
You know what?
Ore wa Amerikajin desu.
America Gene. Such large eyeball.
I love Wase Ego, bro.
Let me put it on my credit card.
Let me put it on my credit card. Look, Rook, Jimmy Rook, I'm American.
Antifa terrorist almost slips car trying to run into Freedom Convoy.
You fucking bogan slut. Get the fuck out of Canberra, go get a job, and find something better to do with your fucking time. What have you done?
Can I please have your license?
Honey, you just reversed into me. I have a fucking
sorry, we're at a traffic light and you
got a license.
Don't you worry.
What are you looking for? Oh, did you see that?
Maniac.
Yeah, I am. So get the fuck out of Canberra, because there are a lot of us.
Good.
Yeah?
You're a maniac.
You hit me.
You fucking idiot.
You fucking idiot.
Play that again. Play that again.
Maniac.
She hits her with the door and then tries to speed away. It's so good. I think she tried to sideswipe the car. I'm sorry, Emma.
You fucking idiot.
You fucking idiot.
What are you looking for? Oh, did you see that? Yeah, I am. So get the fuck out of Canberra, because there are a lot of us.
Good.
Get the fuck out of camera because there's a lot of us.
She was so satisfied with herself, almost fucking golden.
Sorry. You
What's that?
fucking idiot.
What's that? What's that proverb? Try before fall.
Oh, I love that instant karma, bro. It's so good.
Oh, it's so good.
Fucking idiot.
Oh man.
Say good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Bye. See you when I see you.
Don't wreck your car like
Later.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.